All right. And so I might as well introduce you guys. It's Jonathan and Kari. Is that how
Well,
you
I
say
say
it?
Kari, but
Or do you say
yeah,
Kari?
Kari.
You say Kari. Okay. Because I was like, it looks to me it could like be Karin or Karina, but I'm
Well, I
not
mean,
sure.
in Norwegian, I say Kari, so it's different. And then Jonathan,
Kari.
with his
Okay. Yeah.
accent,
Just the
you can
pronunciation.
say how you say my
Yeah,
name.
I said it in the French way with the, so it's Kari.
Kari. Yeah, that's what I would say. My wife always gives me trouble because she says every time you speak a foreign language, you use a French accent because it's my second language. And for some reason, my brain defaults to saying every foreign language should be pronounced the way I pronounce my second language. And so I come out as like a real French pronunciations on everything. So yeah, it's kind of funny.
Yeah, it's really hard to be rid of this French accent. So
yeah, how long have you been living in Norway, Jonathan?
And in October, it will be 3 years that I'm in Norway.
Oh, okay. Yep. Cool. And so I guess we could just start with you telling us a bit about yourselves, where you grew up, and how you just a little bit about your journey.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be an hour of talk that, but as much as you want.
So you want me to start, I guess?
Okay, you can start. Then I can just follow your, go for it.
Yeah, but I'm a French guy. I lived in different places in France. I'm born in the West Coast. I grew up in the Pyrenees, where I just spent my entire life there. And after I moved to the Alps, I spent 4 years in the Alps. Just for me, the most beautiful place in France. And I just really love the mountains. So I practice a lot of bike, mountain sport, like alpinism, climbing and everything. And a day I just left my job and I said, okay, but today I want to become an adventurer. So let's go to cross Europe by bike. It crossed my mind. So I crossed Europe for 4 months and I ended up in Norway during the winter and the polar night. And it's how I met Kari.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. And so did you grow up in the Alps, or is this something you did like after you were already kind of grown up, or was it with your whole family?
No, I grew up in the Pyrenees. So I arrived in the Pyrenees, I was 4 years and I stayed until, I don't really know, 21, something like this, 22. And after I moved to the Alps.
Okay. And was your family like super adventurous as well, or is this something that just kind of?
No, not at all. My brother is sportive, but he always practice fighting sport like boxing or jiu-jitsu. But I'm the only outdoor guy of the family.
Okay. And how about you, Kari?
Yeah. So I'm from a small city. I'm from a small city in Norway, in the north or in the middle of Norway, by the coast. It's where I grew up, and it's where we've been living for the last almost 3 years. But now we just moved, actually. So now we are in Oslo, or close to Oslo. And I also lived some different places in Norway, and I have traveled a lot. And I don't know, all about the exploring and doing different activities. So so this lifestyle is something we share, and
And does your family act? I mean, I think Scandinavians in general tend to be very outdoorsy, from my experience. Was that similar with your family? Was like you had the cottage and the summer house or whatever you call it, and spend your summers in the forest or whatever?
If you compare it to other countries, I think indeed, but not my family is not very outdoorsy. As like a Norwegian family. But it's very like you have it in school. It's just a part of the culture. So I guess it's you have it from like in the childhood and just in the culture.
But yeah, for example, if I compare with French people, Norwegian people are definitely outdoor people. Yeah, and for me, especially because I grew up in cities, and I take the example. I think it's the biggest example I can take. It's when it's rainy. In France, it's rainy, so we stay inside. And Norwegian people, yeah, it's rainy. It's just a normal day.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
also
I think the UK is like that too,
Yeah.
right? Because the British will be like, oh, just another rainy day. Let's go for a big
yeah,
hike.
and also just the thing that we don't care about getting wet. Like, okay, we're wet, and you just accept that you're wet, and you like move on with your day. But Jonathan is like, oh no way I will be wet. Like if it's wet, then
No,
yeah,
at least I
yeah,
don't care to be outside. I love to
yeah.
be outside when it's
But you
rainy,
don't want to get
Yeah,
wet.
yeah.
but I like to have my Gore-Tex and my waterproof shoes.
Yeah, yeah. So how often, Jonathan, is it like rainy out and your friends are like, hey, Jonathan, let's go road biking? And you're like,
It depends, because for example, I practice road bike, mountain bike, and when it's a rainy day, on the mountain bike, it's just awesome because you're muddy, you're
exactly.
dirty when you come home, and yeah, it's just an amazing feeling.
Yeah, yeah. That's awesome. And so the move to Oslo, to the big city, which is relative, I guess, to Europe in general, because it's definitely not that big a city. I think it's compared to cities in France and stuff. But what brought you guys to Oslo? What made you guys decide let's go to the capital?
Yeah, but for several reasons, yeah. I'm very close to my family, so I need to see them often. So I think it was the biggest reason why we wanted to move, at least for my part. And I need to see my family quite often. If I can every month, every 2 months, it's perfect. But I cannot wait more than 3 months. After, it's too long for me. And from where we were in Norway,
Okay.
it was really complicated. For example, for the same time to travel to France, I could travel to Australia. So it was a long trip. And from Oslo, it's just super easy. I can just go and take a plane, or yeah, it's
Yeah,
really
yeah.
easy. So I think this was the main reason. And after, yeah, the city where we were, at least, yeah, if I compare with France, it was a village, but for Norway, it was a city.
Yeah.
But it was super pretty. At least nature was really pretty around. But for me, I'm used to have the comfort of a city, even though I never lived in big cities, or at least in the Alps, I lived in Annecy. You can just from the city center go in the mountains. So I've always been close to nature. And but with the pleasure of a city, if you want to go for a restaurant or if you want to meet people, then where we were, it was a bit lost.
Yeah, it's like 6 hours to the closest city by car. So, but
Okay.
I mean,
Wow,
I grew
yeah.
up there, so I'm used. I have my family there, and I'm used to this way of
Yeah, it's a
living.
little.
But in the same time, I used to live in Oslo before, so like I have quite a network and some friends here, and there's a lot of like opportunities and yeah, things to do. So, and I think both of us we like to change sometimes, like
Yeah.
to explore different places.
Change is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, for example, we would love
Yeah.
to go to live in an experience in Canada for, I don't know, six
Oh yeah.
months, a year. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, we run what I call Hotel Fazli because all my in-laws come to Canada. So I mean, hey, come on, guys. Hotel Fazli is always
Oh
open.
yeah.
No, there's no space. Let's be honest. Yeah, we live in a little village, I call it, just north of Ottawa in the Quebec side. But it's like cities all around, and then this little town of Chelsea is 8,000 people, so it's quite small. There's no like doctors or anything. You have to just. It's only 10 minutes away to the big city's
Okay.
hospital, so it's not far. But it's like just this little spot that's a village. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah.
But it's the same when we say Oslo, we are from 30 minutes from the city center by car. So like this, we have the access. We are living
in
at
the
the front
suburb,
of
huh?
the fjord, so we have some nature around us. So
Oh,
it's
that's
perfect.
nice.
It's
Yeah.
a good
Yeah, and I think
combination.
we're 15 minutes from Ottawa, so it's we're even closer. And then our friends in the suburbs are 30 minutes, so it's
perfect.
yeah. So I guess Norway. There's not too many options for budget flights that are like Trondheim and Oslo are kind of like the big spots,
Oh
right?
yeah, it's basically the only spot to travel to and from, or like in an easy way. Because if you want to go, further north, it's expensive and it's time consuming, and you don't have so many
Yeah.
choice.
Yeah. And when I lived in Sweden, it was close to Denmark. So it was Copenhagen I flew into, and it was an hour train ride. So it was pretty connected location.
Yeah.
So, so you were cycling, Jonathan. I believe that's what you said. You were cycling, and that's when you ended up in Norway in winter.
So I did a lot of mountain sports, and I took many risks, and at the end I have kind of 4 accidents where I'm lucky to still be here on this planet. So
Okay.
I just needed to go back to something else, and I practiced bike. I don't know, for many years in my life when I was child, teenager, and I just saw a documentary of a guy going to cross the world by bike. The documentary was really bad because the guy did not stop to complain about the bike. But it just, for me, I don't know, an idea crossed my mind. And, it was the COVID period, so it was quite complicated to travel. And I said, okay, but just let's go in Europe. Like this, I won't be annoyed with the borders. And, with the bike, you can just cross without any problem. And I said, okay, I want to go to Tromsø in the north of Norway. And let's find a way. So I quickly checked on Google Map. It was more or less 4,000 kilometers. And I just started my trip. But finally, the magic of the travel. So I just met people, I discovered new roads, and I just explored. And finally, I made 7,200 kilometers. So almost the double.
Oh, okay. Wow. Huge.
Yeah. I just took my time. I enjoyed to discover places. At the beginning, I started to discover some cities, and after I really had the need to connect with nature. So I found only lost places, forest, mountains. So it was just perfect. And I took my time. So finally, I had to end up during the winter and the polar nights because it arrives quite early in Norway.
Which, aside from the challenges, is probably pretty epic.
Yeah. But it was really cool because my mom joined me for 4 days in Stockholm. Like this, we spent the weekend together, and she brought me my winter equipment. And I just switched my equipment, and I even had to put winter tires with spikes on the bike. And it was. And for me to discover the polar night and to discover a country always under the snow, it was just magical.
Nice. And somehow at one point you got lost in Kari's village or something.
Yeah, but it's even bigger than this because we met and we kept contact. But so she was on the coast more or less at the, if we cut Norway in two, it's Brønnøysund is right in the middle.
I'm going to open a map.
So, we met, but we kept contact, but in a way, we won't meet again. And I continued my trip, and on the road, I met someone that gave me the number of someone. I called this person. Finally, I got a job for 2 months in the city where Kari lived. So it was, kind of destiny.
But honestly, this story is very cute. You don't tell it in a cute way. No.
Tell it in the cute way, Kari. Let's hear it.
Honestly. No, because I think at this time I was ready for a new adventure. I was ready for something new. I was living in my hometown. One day I saw.
What's it called again? How do you spell it?
It's BR. It's It's the O with the line. Yeah.
Yeah. That's one. Brønnøysund.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I see it on the. It's not a village. It's on the map. Come on.
Right. Yeah, it's a very pretty.
The reason why it's on the map, it's because it's the exact middle of Norway. So from the southwest point to the northwest point, you have 840 kilometers on both sides. So it's right the middle of Norway.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Let's carry on,
Yeah,
Kari. Tell us a cute story.
so I was ready for a new adventure. It was it was dark. It was a winter, rainy, yeah, snowy.
Oh, it was a
And
snowstorm
then,
the day I arrived there.
yeah, and then I noticed this weirdo on like a huge bike, like fully packed bike, that came all the way from France, and he caught my attention. So yeah, we started to chat, and yeah, and we kept contact when he moved on. Like I was like, wow, this is super cool. Like who does that in the winter? And yeah, so we kept contact, and then yeah, destiny had it. Like you had a job in the same place, so he moved. Like just yeah, not long after. I don't remember, but like a month or
I just
two or yeah,
I
something. You came
finished
back.
my bike trip. I joined Kari, and after I spent some time here, at least in Norway, and I went back a month in France before to work. I just
Yeah.
needed to have to. It was 3 months job. It was just to get back some money, and at the same time, it was the opportunity to join Kari.
Yeah. And then yeah, we celebrated
Yeah,
Christmas
neat. And
together, and you stayed.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a bit.
and then you never left except to go
yeah.
visit.
Yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, it looks like a beautiful, beautiful area. I mean, it's like really. I could see how complicated it is to get in and out of that
Yeah.
place. Like it's. Yeah, you got to go around all these fjords and stuff, right? So beautiful. Yeah. So Kari, I'll say, try to do it the English way. What kind of adventuring were you into before meeting Jonathan, and how has that kind of changed or grown in that time
yeah.
since?
Well, it has changed a lot. Like I've always been active, and I've been like always like I've liked to make hikes and be out in nature, but for shorter periods. And I've done more like traveling. So I traveled a lot and like seen different places, but like maybe for a day trip or 2 days. And yeah, after we met, we did like yeah, bigger things and longer things. So and I really enjoy that. I kind of like wanted to go for things like this, but I was like in a place where I didn't know where to start or how to start, and you don't want to do it alone. And
Yeah, pushing limits is fun, but like if you're alone and something goes wrong, and it's always good to have somebody
it
around.
is, and just to start, just to know where to start, basically. Yeah. So
what was the first big trip you guys did together? Like, was it one of these ski trips or something? I mean, it was winter,
Yeah.
right? So maybe that makes sense. I don't know.
It was the crossing of the national park of Finnmarksvidda.
yeah, that was the first
So
one.
yeah, and so yeah, we really wanted to do something on ski with the pulka. So we went for this 5 days trip. We covered the distance of 90 kilometers, and we experienced a big cold because we had minus 36 at the coldest. And
it's like Canadian winter.
sure, yeah. And yeah, it was just awesome to be alone in the middle of nowhere in our tent, making our life for 5 days. And this one was the first trip, and it was a wonderful experience.
Yeah, at least the first longer.
What were some of the
longer?
Yeah.
One. Yeah.
What were some of the biggest? Were there any challenges? I mean, obviously, if two people, you're doing your first big trip together, there's a lot to learn. A lot could go wrong. I guess you're still together, so everything went, mostly well.
But honestly, for me, it went perfectly well because I had the knowledge of with my bike trip, I spent an entire month to camp in the winter. With the alpinism, I did quite a lot too. So I had this experience of the snow, of the cold and everything. So it was fine for this. I just, showed everything to Kari for her to be, to know to do it by herself.
Even though we did this before this trip, it was not the first time we went for something in the winter.
And we just spent the first day, I remember, where we were a bit slow and, we had, but the second night, okay, she found her task, I found my task. So, like, a teamwork. So like this, we were a lot more efficient, a lot quicker. And from this date, everything, And life it's also much easier because we're in couples, so we are used to live together, we are used to each other. So in a way, it's quite easy. It doesn't really change anything for us in the house or out in nature.
No, and I think we're a good
Right.
team.
Yeah. You both have your ideas of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I got to ask on cross country skiing, it's a pretty active sport. How do you, like in the winter, I mean, like sweating is such a potentially dangerous thing. You don't want to sweat too much. You don't want to be too cold. It's trying to find that balance. What's any advice on that? Any tricks, tips, things you've learned?
Yeah.
That somebody out there listening might think, hey, that's a good point. I should keep that in mind.
But for sure, it's definitely the rule number one: never sweat. And yeah, we cannot sweat. Yeah, I made a mistake, for example, during my bike trip. I got hypothermia, and honestly, to warm up after this, you need hours. You spend a huge energy, and the risk is real. So yeah, it's really keep in mind to never sweat, and for this you just need to adapt your speed, to adapt the rhythm, to remove clothes, to put back clothes, to always adapt. And yeah, this you can adjust. For example, I take the case of the jackets. In general, you have some dip under the arms, so you can open the dip to lose some warmth. From the head, you gain or lose 30% of the warmth from the head. So to put a beanie or to remove it, to manage with the gloves. But yeah, if you sweat, the sweat will freeze, and then your clothes will have ice and your body will get cold. So it can be over for you if you sweat.
I know I've heard that before. Never sweat, and it's so hard. Like you really have to you can never say, all right, I'll do it in 5 minutes. Like it's like if you feel like you're starting to get warm, it's like, okay, just stop now.
Yeah.
Fix the potential problem. My first real winter thing was a 50-kilometer fat bike race.
Oh, yeah.
And it was something like minus 30, minus 28 without the wind. I think minus 38 or something with the wind chill.
Cold.
And I didn't know better, right? So I had too many layers because as soon as your body warms up, you start to really heat up. And when I finished, I had a little down vest on, which is really stupid. I could wring it out. It was so sweaty. And I was just dying. I was exhausted because I wasn't drinking enough. I was sweating my butt off. And yeah, it's tough. It's really tough, to manage that.
And it's annoying, to have to remove layers or add layers all the time. But it's better to do this annoying thing than to risk to get wet. But I don't know. I think you have to adjust more than me, because you seem to stop all the time, and me, I don't know. I have a more stable,
better,
but I'm cold. I'm cold, so I keep my layers, and then sometimes I open a bit.
I can get really warm.
I think men in general are warmer. I think men in general are warmer than women. My wife is always cold, always. And I have the house air conditioning set to we fight all the time. I'm I can only take off so many layers, and then I'm naked, and your family's in the house. So it's we have to set it cooler, and you can wear a sweater. It's that's how it has to go.
Yeah, but we have the exact same problem here. He wants to open the window, and I'm but I'm not comfortable. I don't want to put a down jacket. I want to be comfortable in my house. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I told my wife recently, it's I can't take any, if I take anything else off, I'm I have to take my skin off. I can't do it. It's just
yeah.
But just to go back to what you said, you mentioned something super important, and it's a really good tip for the cold and to not sweat too. It's to drink enough, because often we think, okay, but with the cold, I can just skip the drinking part, or I don't think about it because I'm not thirsty because it's cold. But it's super important to stay well hydrated.
So hard, right? It's so hard to drink when it's cold out. Your brain doesn't tell you to drink. It's I'm not thirsty.
Yeah. But after, for this, we are really different, Kari and I, because she eat in the morning and in the evening, because we cannot really stop when we're on the ski, We cannot cook
Yeah.
or anything, so we just have some snacks during the day. But Kali, she needs to eat some snacks and to drink. And me, I do it differently. I make my reserves in the morning and in the evening. I drink a lot, I eat a lot, but I don't touch water or food during the day. So yeah, just find how your body works, know yourself, and adapt
Yeah.
regarding this.
Yeah, for fat biking, I have my trick. It's the pogies on my handlebars. I just throw all kinds of candy in them,
yeah.
and then I can just pull one out and stuff it in my mouth. It's frozen, but it's like good. It gives you something to suck on and chew, and then later on you pull out some more
Yeah,
candy.
that's great.
I recommend things like gummies.
Yeah. Yeah, we always put like I put like a piece of chocolate or an energy bar or something like to warm it a bit. Like this is ready when I need it.
Yeah, yeah. And what's your cooking solution when you guys are out in the winter? Is it I know some people they just go with what do they call it? Like cold soaking, just in against your body. Like some people cook. Well, I mean, some people cold soak all the time. Winter, summer, everything. Just
Yeah,
what do you guys do? Like,
we eat dry food, like freeze dried food. Only, yeah. Oh yeah, basically
okay.
only this and
Chocolate.
some chocolate, and we add on like some noodles because it's so easy.
Some nuts,
Yeah.
some.
And then we add some extra fat to the meals, like to the noodles or to the dry food meals, like butter and what else? Yeah, this.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. We last winter trip we did. We took 2 packs of Pringles that we had to share. Like we had them for it was 11 days or
12 days.
12 days.
We had to count how
That would
many
be a
chips
fight.
you have in a pack, and to divide this by 2 by the quantity of days. So we had I
don't know
think
how
it was 19 chips
19 a day.
Yeah.
Yeah. It seems a lot.
19 per day.
And then we also had some like dry fruit.
That would drive me nuts because I'm like,
Yeah, sorry.
Go
No,
ahead.
we had some dry fruits too that we had to like divide into the day. So we had like one day we had maybe 3 dried mangoes, and the other day maybe only 1. Or like, it was a surprise every day.
yeah, that chips thing would kill me though, because like my wife is like such a slow eater, and I'd be like done, and I'd just be watching her going, "Oh, that looks so good."
Yeah, but I always seem to have too much food, so he gets some anyway. So yeah.
There is also a difference in size, right? So people need like slightly different amounts of nutrients, I presume.
Yeah, I'm at 6,000 calories a day. So it's a huge.
Is that what you found you burned when you're out in the winter?
Yeah.
Or? What other kind of adventures have you gone on? I know I'm looking, just scrolling through your Instagram. There's lots of hikes.
Yeah, but we did adventures on the bike, skis, and we have a lot more in mind that will happen, hopefully.
Yeah.
Well, tell me about you guys, your Instagram name is, I don't know if I can say it properly, but Pihoqahiak?
Yeah, perfect.
Or something like that.
Pihoqahiak.
Is that right? Pihoqahiak. Okay. And how did you come up with this? What does it mean? And explain. I know I read it already, but for the listeners, tell us about it. And
the thing is, most of the adventurers, they have their own name as their brand. But the thing is, we are 2, so we wanted to find a name for both of us, and we found this, and you can explain it.
You found it actually, and it was just perfect. It's a bit hard to write and pronunciate, but yeah. So Pihoqahiak, it comes from Inuit language actually, and it means polar bear, and it signifies the one who wanders endlessly. So we found this just like just very, very beautiful. And both of us, but I really love polar bears or bears in general. I'm very fascinated by them, and and for this reason, I also want to come to Canada, not for the polar bears, but for the bears. I really want to see bears in the wild.
But it's also why we have a logo with the small polar bear, because first,
Okay.
it's beautiful animal, and we like what this animal represents: the strength, the endurance, but also the fragility of an environment that we want to protect. So we really love this name and logo.
Yeah, it's very nice. When I saw it, I was like, man, that's complicated to say, but it's not really that complicated. It's just another word to learn. And if you want to see bears in Canada in 2020, also COVID ride, I cycled from Vancouver to Yukon to Whitehorse.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a highway kind of going north, the closest one to the coast as you get to northern British Columbia, called the Cassiar Highway. And it's just like an alley for bears. I think in the 5 days I was with another guy I met along the route just for safety. We saw like 35 black bears in those 5 days. Yeah, it's insane. And I mean, that's the ones along near the road, that are within like spitting distance as you ride by, or obviously not. Sometimes we were going really fast and we'd pass a bear and go, oh shit.
Wow.
But usually we'd see it ahead of time and we'd stop and you'd film or yell at it, try to get to go away, like just to leave the road so you could continue at some point. And then sometimes they're just grazing and eating, try to make a bit of noise and see if they wander off into the bush. But there's also a lot of grizzlies around there. But at that time of the summer, I was there start of August. They're already kind of higher in the mountains.
Okay.
And so, we were told that, your chances of seeing a grizzly are very unlikely, which is probably a good thing. We never saw any grizzlies, but lots of black
it's
bears.
just amazing. Like, wow. I really want to go there one day.
Yeah.
But what kind of precautions do you take,
here,
or what do you have any protection of some sort?
Yeah, I had bear spray, of course. Bear spray is only as useful if you know how to use it, right? It's like a fire extinguisher. If you don't know how to use it, you're not going to put out a fire. Bear spray, definitely, you don't want to, if the bear's upwind from you, pulling out your bear spray is not going to help you much. You're probably just going to get yourself as much as the bear. And but I have had friends that used it and they said, it's really, really effective, but it's only effective at a short distance. So it's, you already have to have that bear coming at you pretty fast or hard. Like you have to, it's really a last thing. Like it's the last step. But I knew a guy, he said he was in a creek and there was a grizzly and it charged him and his friends and he pulled out his bear spray and he got it right in the face at about like 5 meters, 6 meters distance. And he said it just instantly stopped, turned around and took off. And he was like, but if it hadn't stopped,
wow.
Game over. But black bears, they're typically more scared of people. They're much more timid. I would carry a little air horn from the dollar store because you can buy like proper ones from like hardware stores, Canadian Tire and stuff in Canada. But the Dollarama ones, I just carry a couple of them and they'd be good for quite a while. And loud noise sometimes would scare them away, sometimes not. Otherwise, I'd just kind of whistle or yell or just kind of, make yourself look big. And typically the black bears are not too bad.
Yeah, so that's all that you have.
And I also found that like on the Cassiar Highway, people are like, oh, black bears, they're not scared of you. They will not leave. I think they know cars, they know trucks, they recognize them. They're not really scared of them. They're just like these machines that go past them.
Yeah.
But a person on a bike is a weird animal to a bear. So they see us and a lot of times they're like, they can't make, it's an unknown. So they leave.
Yeah, sure.
For the most part, right?
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, but pretty beautiful. We had one stand up, like looking at us.
Oh.
You're all of a sudden you're like, oh, they are pretty big.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to meet them.
No,
but
of course. I'm super scared, but I would love to meet a bear. Yeah.
I see black bears. Like I live right near it's not a provincial park. It's managed by the National Capital Commission, so they run everything around the capital. It's 360 square kilometers, but we see bears like regularly. Not so often, but I mean a few times a year. And because we're a village. I have apple trees, and usually in the autumn, we come outside one morning, and or in the afternoon, bears climb over our fence, and the cubs will be up in the tree eating apples, and the mom will be just like lounging on the ground, laying down. And then you just have to yell or something, and they run away.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, it's kind of cute. But my wife, it freaks the living hell out of her because she's from Iran. She's from a big cities, and like, you know, being in the nature with bears around is kind of scary for her.
Yeah, it's understandable, even though I would love to experience it.
Definitely the first time you'll probably be like, oh my god,
oh yeah,
oh my god, oh my
yeah.
god. You know? Yeah. So what other kind of adventures have you guys gone on, and what's been like your favorite trips? If there's anything that you've really loved, or I'm guessing mostly in Scandinavia, but maybe not, places you've been that you like bucket list that people should check out.
Yeah, I think like we have to mention the bike trip we did last fall. That's like the longest adventure we have done together, at least, because you did your bike trip too.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, this one was just amazing. It was in Scandinavia, so we started in Oslo.
It's beautiful. I'm looking at the pictures right now. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Oh yeah, so we started in Oslo, and then we crossed we crossed the border to Sweden quite quickly, and biked through, I would say, like, yeah, the biggest part of Sweden we crossed, up until the border to Finland. Then we went through Finland before we took the boat. There's a boat that goes from Helsinki to Stockholm in Sweden. Yeah.
Yeah. Celia Lines or Viking Lines.
Yeah, I don't remember the name.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then we biked then from Stockholm and back to Oslo. So in total, it was 3,000 kilometers.
Ah, okay.
And we did it in 35 days, and we camped in a hammock. So it was just, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And just with the tarp, because we did not have the space for a tent. And it was...
You just lagged up a bit. Let's see if this comes back.
Yeah.
Sorry, you're back. It froze for a second. But yeah, you guys were camping in hammocks, you said?
Yeah, and just with the tarp, because we did not have the space for a tent. So we were really light. We had 50 liters of equipment each. And the thing that we did it in the fall. So you probably know this well in Canada too, but yeah, the fall starts in September. And in the north of Scandinavia, end of September, you can already have snow. So yeah, It was quite demanding, but it was just awesome, to be in nature. And we really chose gravel paths or roads where there is no cities, no cars or nothing. So we were really lost in nature, and this is just really good. Yeah.
It was amazing. And yeah,
and Northern Lights. I see the Northern Lights.
Yeah. We had Northern Lights and just all the colors of the fall, just super pretty. And just this, like, I really appreciate this to be like alone in nature, to not meet cars or people. And just to be the two of us, and to bike we can decide every day how far we want to go, where we want to stop, and how we do it. And just this freedom is it's just wonderful.
So your initial trip, you guys went right around the top of the sea, I guess, right? Or it's the Gulf of whatever it's called, Bromia.
Yeah, we made the loop.
Mortier, that one.
And
okay.
Yeah.
And did you ever have like situations where you couldn't sleep in the hammock, like you just couldn't find enough trees? But I don't feel like that's probably an issue in Scandinavia because there's such nice forests. And
not often, but it happened sometimes that we couldn't find trees. And then we would flip the bikes and then like install the tarp above the bikes like this. It makes a kind of a tent, and we sleep
like a lean-to or kind of shelter type thing, right?
So then we sleep. It's quite cramped inside, but it works.
And the thing is, not so much in Finland, but a lot in Sweden. It's really popular, the shelters, and it's very basic.
Yes.
You cannot stand up inside. You can just crawl, but you have 3 walls and 1 roof. It's just made in wood, and it's really it's in nature. And sometimes we find some, and it's when you don't have a tent and you find a shelter, it's just luxurious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
I remember in Denmark they have a lot. Excuse me, in Denmark as well, they also have a lot of those, and it's
really well developed in Denmark.
Yeah. Do they have them in Norway?
It's not so, at least you have some, but they are more used in cities or close to parks or lakes for people not to sleep but to spend a moment around the fire during the day. But Sweden and Denmark, it's quite similar, even though in Denmark they're in better condition.
Yeah, they're amazing. Yeah, Sweden had like the shelters, but I found like in Denmark they had a fire pit, they had wood stacked nearby, they had like outhouses and running water, and I'm like, oh my god, like those high taxes are good for something.
and sometimes I remember that I saw some shelters in Denmark, but we are far from the basic shelter. It's kind of a tower with 2 or 3 floors of shelters, and it's wow.
That's crazy. I never saw it. Yeah, I have. I've been like near the coast, kind of going south towards Germany, kind of thing from oh man, what was it called? Anyways, near Copenhagen. Anyways, yeah.
But it's really pretty around Copenhagen, yeah.
And we never met people there. I think it was because we went in the fall, so probably like the summers are probably more busy. But we never met anyone. So. And because they're free. It's just,
And in Finland, I guess it's also, they have like Allemansreiten or whatever, so you can just camp as well. I know Norway and Sweden, Denmark, you can just camp anywhere, right? More or less.
You can in Finland, but I was really surprised because for me, Finland was like Sweden, just endless forests and lakes. And finally, it's a lot of agriculture, so many fields, but not so many forests and lakes. You have it a bit more when you go on the eastern part. But it was quite... It's flat, so this is pretty pleasant for the bike. Windy. We had headwind everywhere in Finland, but it's...
no matter which way you go.
But it was not flat. I mean, it's not like huge hills, but it was always... don't you remember? It's up and down.
It's up and down, but it's not mountains. When I say flat, it's if you compare to Norway, for example, or to the Alps in front. But it's a lot of fields. It's not, of course, you have forest, but you have a lot more in Sweden.
Okay. And lots of swimming? I mean, or was it kind of getting cold for that?
Cold, not so many times
No, we had to do it to take a small shower in the lake, but it was quick. Quick and efficient, just to get a bit clean. It was not.
Yeah.
Because after you don't have like a warm house to go inside after to warm up. So
And we also took quite a lot of showers with the rain, so we had a lot of water on the head.
I have a good tip too. Since you mentioned the ferries between Finland and Sweden, in the mid 2000s, I lived in St. Petersburg, Russia, for a few years. And I had a girlfriend from Stockholm, and we would take the ferry from Stockholm to Helsinki, and we would get it for free when it was close to school season. So like we're talking August, September type thing, because Viking Lines would have a promo to get people, like to get university kids to do like an overnight tour, where because it's duty free and you can drink and spend a lot of money. And so they would have these promos that was like free trip. You had a little cabin, and they expected that they're going to make their money from you spending on duty free and stocking up your fridge at your university.
Oh, really?
So we would take the free cruise, but we would just get off in Helsinki instead of going back. And then we'd take a really cheap bus to St. Petersburg, and it was perfect. It was like the most budget efficient travel method in the history of
Oh
the
yeah,
world.
that's great. It's good to know. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know if they still do that. That's 20 years ago, so it's
Yeah.
maybe too many Canadians came and they said, okay, no more of this. Or, I don't know.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
cool.
So tell us. I know I lost it, but yeah, Pihoqahiak. How did this? So it came to be, and what is the goal? So now you said you guys consider yourselves adventurers. Is everything you do kind of based towards growing something, or are you guys still working normal jobs to pay day-to-day life stuff? What's going on?
Yeah, but we have our job. Yeah, it's our company. But yeah, no, we just both left our jobs. Kari, she worked as a psychotherapist before, me as a firefighter. And so, yeah, we just left the job and yeah, we are living this full time. We are really thinking we have only one life.
Yep.
And especially me as a firefighter, because in France, we have firefighter and paramedic in the same time. And I just saw so many things. You can just, lose your life. Disease can take you, an accident or anything. So in 2020, even though I loved my job, it was not a job. It was more a passion. But I just said, yeah, I want to do something else. And I remember that I read some years ago a book of Mike Horn. And I just, okay, this I want to do. So I started to work on this. And when I met Kari, I just, told her, it's my dream. And she just, oh, but you know what, me too. So I will leave my job too. So she left her job, and it's when we created Pihoqahiak. And the goal is, it's to make adventures. So adventures and expeditions around the world. We really want to touch everything. We want to do bike, hiking, ski, alpinism, kayak, packraft, just, everything, as long as we're in nature. And from this, we want to create content, to share with everyone around the world. But what we can see in our adventures to inspire people, to give the desire to people to spend more time in nature, to protect our beautiful planet. And from this, we give talks for events, talks to companies. And the goal, we worked both, so we know the corporate world. And today with the adventures, we can learn different lessons, in the hard way, in extreme environments. So the goal it's to give talks and to make this parallel between the world of the adventure and the world of the company. And
That's a good point. Yeah. I was gonna say I know do you guys know who Jonas Dykman is?
yeah, I might be wrong, but how do you say? Sorry, the athletes of Ortlieb, the one running. Yeah,
Yes, yeah, yeah.
is
So
incredible.
I've had him on the podcast a few times and over the years, and I know he does like corporate talks, and it like kind of links it all together, because adventures take a lot of planning, they take dedication, they take all these different skill sets that are transferable to the corporate world are also very similar to what it takes to do a big adventure or to push your boundaries, right? So I think it's doable. I think you guys are you're onto something good. It's definitely takes time though, right?
Yeah.
But
in a way, like you make it sound easy, like, yeah, we just quit our jobs and then we did this, and like, and it's not always easy. It's not easy at all.
Yeah.
But it's like what I would say, it's worth it. And for me, the thing is, like, I think so many people are trapped in the routine life, the 9 to 5 working, because you get used to having like a set salary, and you have your mortgage, and you have like so many things, like you have to pay every month, and but you can change it. And I think I won't say like that everyone can, but I think most people can. So like you would find that you only set limits for yourself. Let's no, but I have children, I have this, I have a job, I have, yeah, stuff to pay. But it's not different for us. We just choose to do it like, okay, it's a bit risky, it's a bit scary, and we don't have all the answers, but we will find them. Like we found them.
Yeah.
We didn't have the answers, but we found them, and we are still finding the answers. So yeah, I really believe in like just taking the first step and then figuring out like all the answers. You don't need them before to start, because then you will never start.
This and
Yep.
the job of adventure, what you can think is, oh, but it's cool, you are going on holidays or you are making adventures. But the adventures is just the part of the iceberg that you can see. So it's just 15%, but the 85%, they're under the water. And it's training, it's to think about the food, it's to the mental training, it's the logistic, it's to find sponsors, it's to work, because we work for us, so we don't really count the time. And at least now we manage better than before. But we wake up, we talk about the job, during the day we work job, in the evening we eat job, and we sleep job.
Yeah.
So finally we work 70 hours a week. So yeah, all these part people they don't see, and to get to keep the motivation, to keep the discipline, because I just take the example of where we are making an adventures, we have to work with sponsors, and to get a sponsor, it's not easy. It's not okay. You send an email, you work 10 minutes, and you get a sponsor. To make a file, for example, to send to a sponsor, it's maybe 1 week of job. Then it's to find companies where the values they fit, because we want to work only with company where we can recognize ourselves and bring something to each other. So the job is just crazy. And for example, an adventure, it's not holidays, because we don't pay a company with the guide and we just sit in the plane, we arrive, we receive the equipment, we start work. We need to plan, we need to spend time on the map, we need to find the equipment, everything. So it's a true job, and like in every job, but it's a choice. And here's the big difference. But in every job we do some parts of the job that we don't really like, but we have to do it. And like Kari said, sometimes we don't have the salary coming at the end of the month, because we need to make ourselves the salary. So we have no security. We can doubt, and it's not every day easy, but it's our choice. And we just we accept the good and the pros and cons.
Yeah, I guess there's one good thing you have. Like, there's one great thing is being one Norwegian, one French person. There's a little more opportunities to seek those companies and stuff, because really it probably, I'd say most of the time, tends to be based on the country you're from, like, or living in. So like Jonas Dykman is mostly sponsored and working with German companies, and the adventures I know here in Canada are mostly affiliated with Canadian companies. So you guys have this avenue that's allows for a little bit of a broader reach. And I also think that Norway, there's probably there's a culture of companies supporting things that have to do with environment and that kind of thing. There's a little bit more of that.
Not so much.
I feel like,
but no, it's a similar country regarding this. With another country, so it's not easier. It's still hard, but and it's something super important for me, and it's one of our biggest values is to work with authenticity and just to be honest. And when we just want to be honest with ourselves, with the other, and we do what we say, and we don't over sell the thing. So, and this is really good, and we see that it works, because today we are working with companies in Norway, in France, in Italy, in England, in Germany. So,
nice.
And we don't strive to be the best, the best or the quickest, or like, we are just ourselves, and we do this in our way. And this, I think, like, to also to show to people that they can do it too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
it's we don't say to people but leave your job and become adventurer. It's not this, but just we really want to inspire people to follow their dreams. For example, it's a sentence from Mike Horn. I really love this adventure. For me, yeah, it's one of the best in the world. But he has the sentence that everyone has his own Everest. So, for example, someone can just say, yeah, but me, I'm an engineer. I want to stop my job and to become a hairdresser. But yeah, just follow your dream. Or someone else can say, but my dream is to run a marathon. So just go for it. And we really want to inspire in this. And we just have one life. We need to have dreams. And these dreams, they have to be scary. If they are not scary, they are not big enough. And just go for it. And, we have one life and we are full of resources. So we can always find solution for everything and do different things.
But the thing is, we don't only need dreams, because I think everyone has dreams, many dreams, like back in there, like, but just you need to follow them. You need to take the first step and to make them happen. If not, you will just live your entire life and just have dreams.
And just start, even though you don't have the reply to your question, because the reply will come along the way.
Yeah. I guess even like saying, well, at what point did you guys decide to say, okay, let's make this our life, leave our jobs? I mean, it's not a question of saying, okay, let's save another 2 months, let's save another 3 months, because it never comes, right? Like it's very hard to put a line on a map, right? You kind of just have to go for it. And and maybe sometimes a little bit of hope for the best and work hard, right?
Sure.
So it's
honestly, I don't know for you, but me, I just woke up in the morning. I say, okay, now I want to do something else. I spend one day to think. The day after, I give my letter to my boss to say, okay, I stop to work.
Yeah.
okay.
And I think, there's a fine line, between being I don't know, or reckless or stupid, to stop and don't because of course you have responsibilities, you need to survive. Right. So of course you need a small base, but you don't need all the answers at all. So just start, and things will always you will always figure things out. So if it's to go back to a job, we didn't, but there's also always a possibility to just get a job too.
It's I was gonna say a fireman. I don't know. It's I don't know how it is in France or how it was in Canada. Firemen work 7 days a month, I think, because they work 24-hour shifts. So I was like, oh man, as a fireman, sometimes you just take a little bit of leave and you're off for 3 months.
Yeah, for me it was different because so I was not only firefighter, I was instructor. So in a way, I was only part-time firefighter, and my main job was instructor for firefighter. So
you're quite busy all the time.
In a way, I had a kind of classic time job, because some days I was training firefighter, and when I was not training, I was in the office to create the courses and to make some administrative stuff. So I had a classic job, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I got you. So using under the umbrella of I guess I struggle to say it.
Pihoqahiak.
Yeah, I'm getting there. Under the umbrella of that, and using some of these, working with these sponsors and stuff, have you have any new adventures come up that you're planning, or things that are
at least we are working right now on a big adventure. At least I call this a big adventure. But we are working on the movie of the adventure of the bike trip we did in Scandinavia. So the movie is almost finished. It will be we will get the final version for middle of September. So it's really soon.
Okay.
And so now.
And is it like a full feature documentary, or is it how long is it roughly? Because I know documentaries can
25 minutes more or less.
Okay.
And because this is part of our job too. So it's to create content to inspire people to show around the world the adventures and just the beauty of our planet, because not everyone has the possibility to explore the world. So we really want to show this to everyone. And so we walked, and this adventure was really hard for this too, because we never had a break. Because as soon as we had the moment to stop the bike, but it was a moment where we were filming. So it was really demanding, but we are super happy with the result, because the clips we have for the movie are just amazing. and we will have an interview part in the movie. So honestly, we are really, really happy of the result. And now we are
Good.
just working to propose this movie in different festivals. So
Nice. So you might come to Banff after all.
we
Huh?
would
Just
love.
gotta get up to the Banff Adventure Film Fest.
But
It's are you guys self-editing and you're doing all the, or did you get some professional help to help with some of the video
so
production?
we filmed everything by ourselves, all the content from the bike trip, but we are working with the movie maker. She's
Okay, good.
doing an amazing job. We are really happy to work with her, and she will do the interview part, and she edited the movie. And yeah, we're happy because
Yeah, it's a very specific skill to do that. So it's like if you want to sometimes
it's a job because you need
yeah.
the creativity, you need the ideas to make something that makes sense, to have a story.
Yeah, but even though you do a lot too, like he's
Yeah.
very skilled. He makes great videos too. But this one, yeah, it's a bigger and longer one.
Okay.
So yeah.
But thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are really happy because we wanted a movie where we can share the emotion we felt during the bike trip, and we have the perfect result we could expect. So now we are really impatient to
Cool. I can't wait till it
finish
comes
it
out.
and to show it.
Yeah.
And is it called Scandinavian Bike Crossing? Is that like I see one of your Instagram posts, or is it a different name for it?
It's a different name for the movie.
Yeah.
Okay. To be determined, or not released yet, or still under wraps?
I don't know. Yeah, we can say it. Or...
Yeah, go for it.
You don't have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the movie is. You want to say it or?
Okay. It's called
Together. 1, 2.
Nordic Path is the name of the movie. Yeah.
Oh, I like it. Nice.
So that's it.
Nice. I can't wait. I love these little documentaries. Like 25 minutes it's a lot of work. Like that's a lot of video to go into making a 25-minute documentary.
It is.
I have some friends that are pretty good YouTubers and stuff too, and he says, man, like the amount of work that goes into making a 10-minute video is huge. Like just so much video content.
It's incredible. So just first like the content, you need so much.
Yeah,
then the editing is only you doing this. I don't know, but I just for me it's it looks really complicated.
But for the movie, for example, we had 6.5 hours of rushes, so we filmed quite a lot. And with this, you see, you're able to make a movie of 20 minutes, so you need to film a lot.
Yeah. And I think the challenge, like I struggle, like every time I bring a GoPro out with me or something, I just realize, oh yeah, I forgot to stop again. I'm one of those people. I'm so single-minded on what I'm doing that I forget to like take pictures or video. So it takes a lot of like awareness to do that. Like that's
I guess it's a good thing too
I'm sure
to not do it sometimes too. To just be in what you're doing and
in the moment. Yeah.
Not thinking about filming. It's great too. So we do it sometimes too, but many times like we have to create content. So yeah.
But and it's also the difference between a professional adventurer and an adventurer making this during his holidays. So yeah, we don't only enjoy our adventure for ourselves. It's a job to make it. So we have many things to do. And but yeah, for example, it's super demanding. When I take the case on the bike, but you're just super exhausted. You just want one thing, it's to be in the bed, and you have to stop, to put the camera, to go back on the bike, to pass at the front of the camera, to go back to pick. It's a lot of job. And just for the drone, for example, we were just the two of us, so we had to ride the bike, and I was filming while I was riding the bike. So it's a lot of job.
And just constant challenge, right? And so what are you affiliated with any bike brands or outdoor sport brands that are helping to support your adventures, or how do you guys afford all this? Like, because when you're doing a lot of different sports, it means a lot of equipment, right? And if you were just cyclists, I mean, it's a niche. But if you're doing cycling and cross-country skiing and this and hiking, how do you manage it?
We're working with different brands. So for the bike, we're working with a French brand called Sun. Yeah.
Okay.
And we have our lib too.
Yeah.
So we have this, and we have hoodie projects for the bike, helmets, and the sunglasses. We have a real tool mat for the food.
It's a very nice pink helmet.
And barrens for the tent, and for the winter we are also working with Fisher for the skis and Fjellpulken for the pulka. No, honestly, we're really happy because we are working with awesome brands with really good values, and it's we are really proud to work with them. So
yeah, and we have a good relationship with all of them, and that's like really important for us that we can communicate and just have a dialogue and
and I think some people just assume that it's really easy to do all this, but like you said, it's work. Every time you reach out to a company, you're putting hours of work into making sure that you're explaining what you want to explain and coming off on the right foot, and that your values match up and all these things. And it's a tough job, right? Like
first it's a tough job to get the sponsors, and then after, of course, it's a job to keep them or to do the job that we have to do, or like the collaboration.
But for example, just the job we are having with our sponsors, it could be a full-time job. So it's why and it's super interesting, this in the job of adventure, because we don't have only one task. We just do so many things. So we learned a lot, and we are curious about everything. And it's just super interesting because every day is different from the previous one.
Yeah. And I got to ask, because I feel like Oslo's a really expensive city. How come you guys don't move to like Spain or Portugal or something where it's, I mean, obviously you probably love winter as well, so there's a reason.
Yeah, but we love summer too.
Yeah, but I'm open. Like I can go to Spain or to Thailand or.
Honestly, me, I don't see myself sitting anywhere. So honestly, now it's in Oslo, but maybe in 2 years, I don't know. It's Alaska. Maybe 2 years after, it's Greece, or we have
get a work and travel visa, go live somewhere for a while, do some more adventures.
Exactly. At least just to have like the freedom. Like we know that but we can move if we want. Now we're here, but we won't say like we will stay here forever. Yeah, kind of. So we'll see. Now we're happy right here. Yeah.
Everything is new,
Yeah.
So after the documentary comes out, you're hoping to promote it and whatnot as well, I'm sure. Any other adventures, anything you're planning to go on, or is it more just focus on that through this winter and just do some smaller things?
The other big adventure will be to work on the second movie. And it will be the movie about the adventure we made last winter in February, because we crossed Hardangervidda. It's a park in Norway. And honestly, it was just amazing. It was extremely hard because on 12 days of adventure, we had 10 days of storm. With really tough conditions. It was extremely hard. Just to give you an example, I think it happened 2 days. We had a speed of 700 meters an hour. So it's, if we translate in English, it's a half mile in an hour. So it's nothing. When you walk normally, you walk at 4 kilometers an hour. So you just arrive at the end of the day, you worked 8 hours, you check the GPS. Okay, we did 6 kilometers. It's not so much.
we did 4 miles. Yeah. I'm not American, but I know miles as well. It's like not even half a mile. Like that's crazy. Like that's hard.
It was really tough.
And that's just because you were on cross country skis. You have to break trail as it's storming, and it's never ending, right?
And it's just white out, so you don't see anything. It was a headwind. And it was, really quick. We had one day, it was, I don't know, it's 32 meters second or 115 kilometers an hour. So, it's, it was really hard.
What do you sleep in when you're doing something like this? Like, what's your, you can't just use a normal bike packing tent.
It's an expedition tent, and we have really good equipment with our sponsor Barents. It's tents made for the adventures, made for the tough conditions. But you don't really sleep because you have to wake up every 2 hours to go to remove the snow, to be sure that the tent is safe. Because
so that you don't suffocate. Like if you get too much snow, you just kind of run out of
Yeah,
air.
so that's why like you have to go out to check or to remove snow if there's too much. So yeah, this one was almost only hard, but but
type 3, right? Like not even type 2 fun. It's
oh
just even
yeah,
worse.
no, but we wanted this like yeah, maybe not 10 days of this, but we really searched to have this kind of like strong winds and storms just to be better prepared and to learn more.
At this park, you have in February, it's a stormy period, so almost no one got there at this moment. So we decided to go right at this period.
Yeah. So basically, yeah, we got what we asked for.
Sounds like a smart idea.
Yeah.
And yeah, and what else? Like, I mean, is there like wildlife issues or navigation? You said if it's white out, do you just follow your GPS on your wrist or your phone?
Yeah, the GPS. We found sometimes some wood sticks. So, but we also had to adapt because we drew a route. But some part of rivers were opened, so we had to adapt and to adjust the route. And honestly, it on the moment it was just like Kari said, hard and awful. But now with some time passed, it just makes the best memories, and it was an amazing experience. We learned a lot, and I'm very happy and proud to have made it. So it's really good.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's like you guys are alluding to, like the really, really tough times, which might involve tears, it might involve some arguments at some point. I don't know. But after, when you realize that you could get through it, it makes future adventures just a little bit more bearable, right? Because you know that no matter how tough it is, like we got this. We've been through maybe worse. We've been through almost as bad, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
So it's just to have this experience and like to experience. Yeah, we did different things. So like to experience like very cold temperatures, to experience very strong winds, and to experience to be out for long.
To experience to fall in the water by 3 degrees in the middle of the ocean.
Oh, that sounds awful.
Yeah. So, yeah.
What do you do then? Is it a matter of like you put up the tent right away, try to get some layers, or I don't know. What's the solution there?
Yeah, honestly, we are well trained, so you just do what you need to do to survive. And I don't know, you focus your brain on one thing, and you cannot, just be scared and be lost and say, oh, but what can I do? Because some seconds can make the difference. So you just need to be focused and to create habits and So just need to train a lot.
And I think like last winter, I don't know if it was the same there, but here in Canada, it was a very weird winter. It wasn't a lot of, we didn't have a ton of snow. It looks like you had lots of snow there. But it was also never really, really cold. So a lot of places that would normally be frozen weren't really frozen well. It was this kind of also part of the problem for you guys. And that's why you had like detour around open water.
Yeah, the 2 last winter were complicated with the snow. I remember not the last one, but the one before. For example, it was in January, so some part where it should be minus 25 degrees, it was barely 0 degrees, so the snow melted.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, 2 years ago it was quite complicated, and honestly last year it was the same. It was different, but really bad snow conditions, not so much snow. And with winter it's global warming, so yeah, we can clearly see the impact.
Yeah, but we had this in Hardangervidda on this trip, because like it gets really like it gets a lot harder when it's not cold enough. So that means like when it's between, like when it's less than minus 10, or warmer than minus 10, it gets hard because it doesn't freeze, so you get wet instead,
Yeah, yeah.
so that's really complicated. And it also makes like the snow conditions a bit, it's heavier to walk,
Heavy and
basically.
sticky snow.
Yeah. So
Yeah, it's nice when it's really cold and crisp and everything just kind of like becomes dry, right? The snow
Yeah.
becomes drier. It's like the humidity kind of disappears.
Yeah, it's a lot easier. Even though, of course, it's cold. Like you feel the cold, but it's easier to handle if you just have like warm enough clothes and warm enough equipment, like sleeping bags, and then it's easier when it's colder. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, like at least minus
We have
15.
this, yeah, we have this really cool route in northern Quebec going towards Labrador, which is the furthest east province, and it's called the Route Blanche.
Okay.
And it's an ice road in the winter. The road only exists in the winter, and it's for snowmobiles and stuff to access communities that they can normally only fly or sail
yeah.
into. So they can only boat or fly, and then all of a sudden in the winter they have a road. And I wanted to ride it on my fat bike, but of course parts of it were closed because not enough ice pack, and it was too wet. And then this last year, I think it wasn't open at all. So I'm still like biding my time for a year where it's finally accessible. And I know a couple people who've ridden it, and I'm like, man, it's one of my bucket goals. It's doable. It's even in my timeline, it's possibly doable. It's hopefully one day we get a good winter again.
Oh, that seems like really cool. So yeah, I hope.
Yeah, check it out. Route Blanche. It looks pretty epic. It's 500 kilometers.
500. Okay.
yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, you can find it if you search it. Yeah.
But we have a map above the computer, so we see Canada, and honestly, we really it's a dream to go there and to just explore, because I think it's just an amazing place. And I never been in Canada, but I like to call Norway a little Canada, because when you check the photo on internet, it's a small hint of Canada. So I just want to discover, because I think it's Norway, but 100 times bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's in some aspects, right? Like I think we have the mountains, which Norway's got mountains, but we have them, but they're kind of far from me. And then and I feel like New Zealand kind of fits into that description too. You know, you got the lakes areas and the fjords and the mountains, and it feels like also like a really far away mini version of Canada. But Norway could be it too. Actually, where my dad goes sailing, so my father's a sailor. He sails in the summer. There's this place called Bay Fine or Finn, and it's a 13-kilometer fjord. So it's not huge, but it's the largest freshwater fjord in the world, because it's obviously to find a lake that has something that long is all kind of hard. But it's really beautiful. It's quite the place to sail down.
And where is it?
Not like a Norwegian fjord. It's in the North Channel of Lake Huron, so just kind of north of Manitoulin Island, which is the world's largest freshwater island. So
cool.
Yeah, it's just in Canada. It's just a part of Canada.
Yeah.
It's a pretty big country, so it's kind of funny when you think of like where things are, and you're like, it's about 700 kilometers west of where I am.
That's like some huge distances. Yeah. But have you explored a lot in Canada?
Yeah. A fair bit. I mean, a lot, like since I've gotten to bikepacking more and with bike touring and stuff when I came back, because I was living in Malaysia. So I came back to Canada with my wife in 2019. And then COVID happened. So, but I mean, a lot of the small areas around the region that you just wouldn't know otherwise if you weren't exploring outside of the big cities. They're just places on a map most people wouldn't know. A little bit out west, I've done some bike touring from Sweden to Germany, in Japan a bit, Malaysia, Indonesia.
That's great.
But yeah, Canada's huge, so it's really tough. Like there's so much to see.
Do you know
you could probably
the island of Langkawi? Yeah, I've been there. It's one of the prettiest places I've visited. It's just yeah, it's fun. It's so pretty.
Yeah, Langkawi is a special place. I lived on the other side of the country, and for most of my, well, I guess half my time in Malaysia, in Kota Baru, which is near the Perhentian Islands. So it's on the other
Okay.
coast. And yeah, I was teaching there, and then I lived in Malacca in the south, and then Kuala Lumpur for a few years
Oh,
as
that's
well.
cool. Teaching what?
Yeah. I was teaching English and then doing a teacher training program, and then I started teaching international schools. So
Cool.
now I teach French and elementary school.
Great.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you guys come to Canada?
Yeah, I wondered the same way.
Yeah, honestly, it's an idea because I said to Kari, I have to convince her because, but I will succeed. But I have in mind the Yukon to cross Yukon with the canoe, in Alaska. I have
Yeah.
this in mind. I'm trying to
Yeah.
convince her. So
There's a lot of people canoe. There's an actual canoe. There's a water race. I know a guy who did it on a supboard from Whitehorse to Dawson City.
Okay.
I think I can't say how far it is. It's far. I think I forget, 100 and 200 kilometers maybe. And he did it on a supboard with no sleep. I think he stopped once to sleep for a bit. And but other people canoe it, kayak it. Yeah, it's supposed to be really cool. And there's a group of Canadian adventurers just crossed from Whitehorse. I believe they bike part, they canoed part, then they sailed across the Hudson Bay, and then they finished with more canoeing to across all the territories, the whole north of Canada. So that was a big multi-month adventure, but a good portion of it was sailing. And yeah, it's just kind of neat what people can do if you're motivated.
Sure. Yeah, but I could do something on the bike too.
Yeah, we would love to cross Canada by bike, east to west or west to east. But
there's a new route that's really, really cool. It's called the Great Northern Bikepacking Route. So it's because Canada, a lot of crossing Canada tends to be a lot of paved roads. Okay. And so this guy, Matt Cady, who's a route creator for some bikepacking routes, stitched together sections of various people's bikepacking routes and then filled in the middle as best he could, and just created it's almost 15,000 kilometers. So it's about double what it really is to bike. Okay. But it's all like back roads, countryside, some of the amazing parts of Canada. And then at Lake Superior, it goes into the U.S. because there's no good way to go from Winnipeg to Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. It's just a highway. So he put it underneath through the U.S. So it follows some good routes there and stuff. And yeah, it's very cool. The GNVR, Great Northern Bikepacking Route. Cool. Yeah, super pretty. But that's a big adventure. That's a multi.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's a long one. Yeah,
which could be good
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a couple doing it right now, and they're just in Quebec still now. So they're about 2/3 done. Cool. And yeah.
Mm-hmm. But we did some at least it's smaller adventures. But Kari made a bikepacking adventure this summer, and
where did she go?
You can talk more about.
So I went in the area of where I grew up. So I did it's it's the coastal route of northern Norway. So I went there. I did some island hopping and I did some hikes too. So I called it a bike and hike. So I went there.
And you have to take a lot of ferries then, right?
Yeah. A lot of ferries and speedboats. So it was a lot of waiting sometimes. I was stopped by okay, you have to wait for the next boat and then when I came to an island, I had to stay overnight because there were no other boats. But it was really, really pretty. It's an area just absolutely breathtakingly beautiful. It's so pretty. And with all the islands, with the mountains and everything. Yeah. So it was
And you were going north, I
no.
presume?
I started in the north and I went south. So I started in a city
Oh,
called
okay.
Bodø in the north, and I went
Oh, yeah, I see it. Yep.
until Steinkjer. It's a bit north of Trondheim. Yeah.
Okay.
So in total, it was like 840 kilometers, something, and I did five. I think I did five hikes.
Yeah, I
No,
think it
yeah,
would be so.
5 hikes too. So it was just wonderful.
And Jonathan didn't join you.
No,
He
I
kinda
did mine.
do your time
Yeah.
too.
I did. It was, yeah, I was very happy to do this. I went on the mountain bike, at least it was a non-Giro bike, and I made a bike packing. So I had just one bag in the handlebar, a backpack, and I went to cross a part of the Pyrenees in France. And honestly, I had so much
Oh,
pleasure. It
cool.
was really cool. It was really tough because I had a lot to climb. By moments, I had to carry the bike on the back and to walk. And the downhill, they were just amazing. Very technical single tracks. It was awesome.
Nice. So I guess that's really good too, is right that at times you're not always together, but at times you're gonna have your own little adventures or micro adventures, and then it's good for the relationship.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and we wanted to do something kind of local. So yeah, Kari, she did from where she is. I did in front in the Pyrenees. It was kind of back to basic.
Yeah. Oh, so cool. Awesome, guys. Well, anything I kind of missed on that you wanted to chat about? I know it's
Yeah,
sometimes.
I think we talked about everything. It was really interesting, and we hope that we will be able to bring our movie in Canada in different festivals. We will be very proud, and because
Yeah, that would be very, very
we
cool.
did it in English, so it's perfect for this. And we hope that people will appreciate this movie and that we will inspire people to go on the bike, because I discovered the bike packing with my crossing of Europe, and I was very happy to show this to Kari, because I don't know, there is something very specific on the bike. It's a slow way to move, but at the same time it's quick, because you can cover quite big distance every day, and you have a complete freedom. I cannot really explain it, but it's just your bike, the stuff on your bike, the equipment, and you can go wherever you want, when you want, how you want, and just an amazing feeling. So, and we don't need to go for big adventures. We can go just 2 days, 1 night, or to go for 1 week, 1 month, 1 year. But I had this documentary I watched that gave me the desire to, okay, now I go to make my adventure on the bike. So if we can just give the impulsion to someone to go on the bike, it's just amazing, because it's an extraordinary feeling to be on the bike and to travel.
I agree. It's why we do it, isn't it?
Sure.
And, but I'm sure it's the same with a lot of the adventure sports. I think they all kind of give that sense of freedom, but definitely, like you said, a bike is a little bit faster. It's kind of the right pace that you can get. You can still make distance, but not have it take forever.
Yeah, that's true.
Any plans for fat biking winter expeditions? Or
I'm very curious. I never tried, but it looks really cool. To do something. I don't know what you think.
And honestly, I walked in the bike for some years, and I biked all my life, actually, but I never tried a fat bike. So
you have to come to Canada. Come visit. I'll let you try mine.
Honestly,
I would love to. Yeah.
We have two, so you guys will be perfectly set up.
Yeah, and just this this route that you talked about, the frozen one. This
that could be fun.
It sounds really cool. So I understand that you want to do it.
Yeah, it's pretty it's interesting because like even in that area, some of the villages are English because they date back so far and so long ago that they still use English as their first language, and it's it's in Quebec and it's remote Quebec. And then some of them are First Nations villages and some of them are French villages, and it's kind of neat. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so we'll see. I don't know if I'll ever have a chance. It's hard as a teacher because we only have the March break, the school break for a week.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of coordination, and the weather has to be kind of perfect to make it fit that.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I have a 2.5-year-old daughter, so it's a lot to ask from my wife to let me go and have some fun adventures and her stay home with the baby.
Yeah.
But who knows? Her mom is here for a year, so she's here right now. So maybe, weather permitting, who knows? 2025.
Yeah. Fingers crossed.
Offer Rosie's a good restaurant, a romantic evening, and it will be fine for the trip.
That's right. A spa vacation, or send her to
Yeah.
Exactly. All right, guys. Well, it's been really, really nice to chat. If there's anything I forgot that we didn't really touch, I know we didn't dive maybe too deeply in any one specific adventure. We could save that for next time.
Yeah, sure.
But we kind of touched on a lot of things, which is really interesting because your experiences are so vast. It's kind of hard to dive into one specific thing. But yeah, keep in touch. Let me know when the documentary comes out. I'll definitely love to see that. And
sure, we will. And then, if we come to your area one day, we will also contact you.
Yeah.
Well, Canada's pretty wide, so you might be in Canada, but you might be near my area.
And if you come in Oslo or surroundings, just let us know.
Yeah, there's a chance. Like, I mean, I don't know when it'll happen. That's one of those things you never know. But had lots of talks with my wife about going and bike touring as a family through Europe or parts of it. I would love to get up into Scandinavia, having lived there a bit, and it's a really nice place to bike tour. I can't think of too many more pristine places, and we'll see. Who knows? It's hard to say.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. You don't have to go, but I'm just going to end the recording, and we can chat for a few more minutes. But let me push the stop button. So, thank you.
See you. Thanks.